Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Link to Pass Randomizer main tournament. Here we have Group AE, Game 2 between Vortex of Doom and SirLinkalot. And as you can see at the top of the screen, we are playing open with a modified hard iron pool. How's it going, folks? I am Wolfling0370, and joining me on the mic tonight is Specs. How's it going?
I'm doing quite well. Really excited about this race between Vortex of Doom and SirLinkalot. Should be a good one.
That's right. Now, for anyone who's not aware of what Tournament Hard Pool is, it's just going to be our open format that we all know and love, but there is a little bit of a difference in the item pool specifically. First and foremost, all items are normal functions. And for our item pool, instead of having 12 heart containers, we have 48 pieces of heart, 4 heart containers, and 1 sanctuary heart container, so there is 20 hearts available. We will have no armor upgrades whatsoever. They will be replaced by 5 rupee packs. We'll have 4 bottles placed, but only 1 will be available and be empty, and then the rest will be turned into blue rupees. No half magic. We'll get a small decanter when that shows up. 3 shields are placed, but we're only going to be able to get the fighter shield. And the rest will, again, turn to blue rupees. And then we'll get 4 swords, capped to tempered, with the 4th sword turning into a green pile of 20 rupees. And the bows, this is the big one, are not progressive.
Yeah, the real tough things about this mode are the fact that you have to, if you're a good player, not having as much mail or health is usually not a big deal. The tougher part, in my opinion, my experience, is the lack of magic that you have between only 1 bottle, that you can have 1 blue, and then no half magic. But you don't have as many, you don't have as much good equipment, like maybe only Master Sword, no silvers, and maybe not many invincibility items. Some of the fights or some of the ways that you have to route certain dungeons can now suddenly become a lot harder. You need to be way more careful with how you route your way through the dungeon, being careful with your magic use, even being careful with Ganon. So those would be the toughest things, in my opinion, about the mode.
And we started with different starting points here, and we get 20 rupees and 50 rupees respectively. A little bit of starting money here to get our runners started. And it looks like Vortex of Doom is going to do an Uncle route, which is a pretty common route. Poultry is just hearts, not if that were helpful.
Yeah, nothing out of Uncle yet. The triple disappointing. At least you get a little bit of magic out of it to start the round with, but nothing too great yet. No bombs yet.
I'll go with the Moon Pearl. Now, one other thing I forgot to mention as well is that with this hard item pool, the green and the blue rupees are removed. So if we see a blue rupee, it's more than likely an overflowed item that we already have.
Yep. One nice thing about this mode, and as we'll see here in CAC, is you just constantly get heart pieces. So one nice thing about all the heart pieces is you do get more health refills, usually during the race, as you're checking chests. That's one nice, arguably nice thing about the mode. So we'll see a lot of heart pieces being pulled, and a lot of health refills.
Yeah, but at the same time, that is also a trade-off because our runners, until they get that mirror, are going to want a Death Warp. As we find the Quake Medallion and a Poultry with bombs in it. That's actually pretty good for Vortex. Doesn't have to buy them.
Yeah, that's really nice. And 10 bombs, that's great. And right now, since we haven't seen a whole lot of money, Vortex will have no problem doing Merchant. Well, SirLinkalot might have to wait a little bit. Well, you should get money out of Blind's Hut and Cackwell still, so it'll be okay, but won't have much money after that.
SirLinkalot taking the moment to free the chicken from the pot and gets 3 bombs for his 1 bomb.
I swear that's how Chicken House always goes. You buy your bombs, you go to Chicken House, and you immediately just get more bombs. Always a little, a little annoying when that happens.
Both our runners converging, a virtual high five even, going into Blind's hideout. So we're getting to these items at the same time.
Okay, yeah, the open heart special, 4 heart pieces, just right here in blind sides. Okay, 5 heart pieces. Nice.
Now, both our runners here are showing some great promise here. SirLinkalot, though, is a well-seasoned veteran of Link to the Past Randomizer, of course, having been part of our 512-person spring tournament in way back when. He's been in the community for about 6 years now. Oh, even.
And then Vortex has been playing since, you know, what, mid-2020, early 2020? So, at this point, 2 very experienced seasoned runners that we have. What do you have? 2 medallions. That's pretty nice. You know, most likely won't have any issues getting into TR and Meyer, but I mean, of course, my bombos can still be required. We'll see. But hopefully, Quake and Ether are all we need.
Yeah, but akin to what you said earlier with Fortism being quite seasoned here, he actually has a sub 90 time with a 125-50 NMG. So he is definitely someone to look out for.
Yeah, definitely very impressive. Also, have we gone over how their group is currently standing?
As it is currently, SirLinkalot has had a bunch of games done over everyone else, so it's a little too early to call, but currently SirLinkalot is sitting 3-2, whereas vortexofdoom still has a few other games to play and is currently 1-1 right now, with this being his 3rd game.
Okay, so for SirLinkalot, it'd be great for them to win this one and go 4-2, because if you go 4-2 in your groups, it's very unlikely you don't make it to bracket. It's possible, but very unlikely. Worst case, you know, you have some sort of weird tiebreaker that might occur, but you're probably going to make it. But if you go 3-3, you could technically still make it, but SirLinkalot will have to wait for like the next week while he sees, you know, the rest of the matches get played out by his other opponents in the group, and that's pretty nervous. If you're in SirLinkalot's shoes, you definitely want to go 4-2 here and have a pretty good chance to make it into bracket. A 3-3 here would be, yeah, I'd be a lot more nervous if that was the situation.
Well, it's not so much nervous here as we see our map check here, and we get 3 crystals in the light world. Desert being a 5-6 crystal, which we need, which are required to open up the Pyramid Fairy check. And it looks like SirLinkalot's going to be heading over to do the mini Molder Cave, and we get the cape. Not really a great item to find early. It's not that useful, but unfortunately it is a piece of an early Aghanim play. So let's hope we don't have to deal with that. We don't even have a sword to even think about it right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad sign at this point because it makes you think Aga. But at the same time, especially open hard, I would love to have that as a safety. So like, scary to know what it means in terms of progression, but nice in terms of a safety. Yeah.
Ada Samaria, though, that is a great find. And some extra bonds to make up for the ones he used on the mini mole arms. Vortex, meanwhile, is taking a little bit of a different route here. Gonna be checking Agita, which is normally isolated by most runners. So not leaving anything to chance here.
Yeah, Vortex looking to see if, you know, either they can maybe make a play by doing this check, which might offer something that could give them an advantage on their opponent, or also just playing defensively to avoid, you know, SirLinkalot doing this play and getting an advantage. It's definitely, you know, this definitely has made a huge impact on races beforehand. Nope, but not this race. Nope, just Eros.
Now, we did have a question about as what was in library, and I did see that. It was the small magic decanter, which, because of Tournament Hard, that would have normally been our half magic. So, a shame we don't have that, but we don't have boots to pick it up anyway. Or to have it be actual math magic. And meanwhile, though, that's a good item to see. There, hello, Hookshot. Sitting there in Ice Rod Cave, so Linkalot picking that up. Vortex is looking to be doing... Ah, okay, he's doing the split route, which is a little bit slower, but a lot more thorough. I do kind of like this, because as a result of that, he's going to have one less isolated check when it comes down to what it could potentially be a single item hunt.
Yeah, I mean, mostly for the older game, because later on, if you get food or something, you'll have some good chances when you're in my area to check Aginas. But yeah, if it's a critical item though, it can be a pain in the early game. Like, you know, maybe if this is an Agaseed, our players may want to try to put it off if they're like one item away from other types of Dark World access. So it might have that out of the way. That hookshot also is kind of like the cape in this scenario. It's kind of scary. You know, with the hookshot, you're normally happy because it makes it easier to kill some enemies. It's faster movement, and it can give you access on mountain. But right now, when we don't have a glove, this could actually be a sign that maybe we need to do Aga and then use a hookshot to get to the west/north Dark World once we beat Aga. So with combination with that cape, the hookshot's actually kind of scary to see at this moment.
Yes, but combine that with the flippers, we don't have to worry about too much. Although, as our runners pass by the Lake Hylia Island area, we have just spotted the silver arrows, which is going to be great for the Ganon fight and any other fights we can get. But we need, of course, that mirror and our Dark World access to get to that one first. And it looks like SirLinkalot is going to be at least peeking the items at Waterfall Fairy Cave. No money to pay for Zora.
Yeah, if you're with the Houlihan, you wouldn't have even near enough money. Also, and there's wow, hammer and glove and Waterfall Fairy. Not an Agassiz anymore. Unless Lumberjack's required. We even checked Lumberjack, have we? I don't think so.
I do not think either runners have checked Lumberjack, no. But at this point, Dark World access has opened up, so the only thing that could be there is progression. And at this stage, it's fine enough not to check it because we don't even have our boots.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is how most runners are going to do it. Chucking Lumberjack here is normally a bit slower. You normally do it when you have boots, or when you go in a mountain with, you know, just gloves and no flute. Speaking of a mountain, back of escape here also makes sense. You haven't checked that yet. But after this, you could go Dark World. You could go up mountain out of logic. There's a couple different options here of where you could go. A few good options.
Yeah, most commonly you'll see an Aghanim check right at the start of the sea just to get it out of the way as you cross over to the Lost Woods. Titan's Bit, though, in the back of the Sanctuary here, and going into Dark Cross, this is going to be a check that is out of logic. We do need a lamp or another way to light the torches in here, which we currently do not have. But this could pay out well for SirLinkalot.
Yeah, it definitely could. It could also just be the map. So hopefully not the map. Those Titan Knits also could now combined with the hookshot and the pearl. Well, actually, SirLinkalot has not gotten the pearl from Uncle yet. So SirLinkalot cannot go Dark World yet. Yeah, I'll have to see when SirLinkalot makes it over to Uncle. You would think soon. But the thing is, now with those Titan Knits and hookshot, mountain's looking pretty good. But if you don't have Moon Pearl, it's not looking as good. So SirLinkalot might... Being they don't have a lamp yet, they might go Uncle here first and not Mountain or something, knowing they'd be out of logic, and they need to find pearl or flute or something, or lamp. Yeah, SirLinkalot is looking for that logical progression and not breaking logic at the moment, and we'll be going to Uncle's to get that Moon Pearl.
Yeah, and SirLinkalot can even extend this and check the Zelda Stele now that he has a hammer to go down that far. Certainly wouldn't hurt while he's in the area to go do it, but we'll have to wait and see.
My guess is they won't do it right now because there's so many good options in front of them once they get that pearl between... You can basically do all of Mountain and Dark Death Mountain. You can do Hera. You can do quite a bit in Dark World now. You could do it now. I feel like most people here would probably wait to do it with like Pyramid or Pyramid Fairy later on. But you could do it more like as a play because you know your opponent won't do it for a while and see if you can get something extra out of it.
Well, it looks like SirLinkalot is deciding to do it now just because he's in the area. And there's our Dark World map check. Green Pendant Pod, Thieves Town, and Meyer are our other two pendants. Our other 5/6 is Skull Woods. The rest of the dungeons are required crystals. So Vortex is doing the dive here because he's already left the Uncle area a while now. Getting 3 bombs to start, a heart piece, 20 rupees, a sword, and another heart piece. So the sword is really good to have. So that will help alleviate the majority of Vortex's combat issues, but still not too useful. It is the fighter set out there. It has a slightly smaller hitbox.
And this routing by Vortex, I personally really like it since you have those Titan mitts. You know, normally you have a choice, but Dark will you only have regular gloves and hammer between whether you go, you know, Hype Key first or do you go Village of Outcasts first. But when you have those Titan mitts, you can very easily, you know, after digging game, just route up into Village of Outcasts. So I really like this routing choice by Vortex of Zoom.
Alright, now all the way down to Zelda Cell here, SirLinkalot. Hopefully we'll find something here to work with, but I don't think we've seen the small key yet. Oh, but it's just 3 bombs.
Yeah, the small key was in the back of Escape, so yeah, unfortunate. At least it's not something that, you know, as you mentioned earlier with the Ginas, that if meet up on some like ice rod hunt or something similar, looking for bombos, you know, some item, someone will have this done and won't need to try to route it back in. But not necessarily bad.
What was bad, though, is 4 digs for a pack of 10 arrows with nothing we really need right now. Is Vortex going to get the old man? He is. Alright, so Smith check kind of happened here. And SirLinkalot is looking to go up the mountain at this point. Not even going to check Ganon, which makes some sense. Because we don't have boots anyway. At this point, the only thing we care about is if Ganon is required for boots checks, but we don't know yet where the boots are.
Yeah, completely reasonable, because you can combine that check with Bonk Rocks later, and it's not too out of your way. I think you can get up there faster. Yeah, not unreasonable, and it's time save. Never you get boots and don't need to even consider it.
Yeah, I think as far as both our runners is concerned, Aghanim is not required until they have the pieces for it.
Also, I think it's interesting Vertex went ahead and decided to go ahead and do this early Smith, even though they could have done way more Village of Outcasts. So definitely an interesting choice. Definitely trying to, like, you know, I would say find an item, because most people would not check Smith here. Also, Sword and Old Man for SirLinkalot. So interesting choice by Vertex. I don't think it's a heart piece out of it.
Well, it's not that bad of a check, considering he has the Titans, but he can easily go back to Village of Outcasts after turning in the old man.
Yeah, it's not the worst check, but it's definitely still a bit slower when you still have, like... It's definitely a bit slower and not, you know... If you're going for ultimate routing efficiency, this is not how you would want to do it. But I think it's more just... They're trying to get an item or a check that maybe the opponent doesn't have. Because if you're going for routing efficiency, you definitely would just wait for a mirror at this point.
Well, if I was in Fortress Doom shoes, knowing that Thieves Town is a pendant, I would just wait and hold off to these checks until later. I mean, I don't have any other reason to be in the town other than the stray checks. And getting into what looks to be Skull Woods here, gonna check the front first. This is a reasonable enough play. Check it. This is basically a cave as far as we're concerned. And a big key immediately. Paradise Cave, meanwhile, and SirLinkalot found a sword on the old man of the mountain.
He does mean he'll have a Master Sword soon, which would be pretty nice for both of our runners to have that good of a sword early on. Once you have Master Sword, you know, most stuff isn't too bad to do, so it'll be super nice, because we can expect both of our players to, you know, go to Hype Cave and Old Man accordingly.
There's our one shield. And pretty much a barren Paradise Cave. That's something to think about. Could potentially mean that our intended mountain access is late in the seed logic if it's junk filling the mountain.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about doing mountain analogic like this, because you may just get, it may be a complete race if your lamp or your flute is somewhere, you know, kind of deeply hidden in on the lower part of the darker light world, and then you just kind of waste time here. But being that you've Dark Mountain, you've Dark Death Mountain, East Mountain, and Harry here, also it's a super tempting play because there's so many checks you can do.
Yeah, first look at Hera here, meanwhile, on SirLinkalot side, and downstairs we have a vanilla small key to start things off. Gonna at least look at the big chest to see if it is not requiring a Hera pot. Hopefully it is not. No, but it is the bow, which we do need.
Yeah, that's already pretty good payoff because, you know, Pod and Eastern are places that we can expect to go soon. At least Eastern because it's a crystal, but probably Pod, even though it's a pendant, it's because you may need items out of it. And you'll definitely be happy to have that bow to put more things in logic and be able to more full clear those 2 dungeons. So that even if the rest of the mountain doesn't pay off, that's pretty worth it for SirLinkalot.
Yeah, and I can understand that SirLinkalot does not want to continue with the Hera play out of logic. So choosing to come back later when he has fire. Meanwhile, C-shaped house, which is a check that SirLinkalot did not do. Or was it Vortex that did this? I don't remember anymore. Only having a heart piece.
SirLinkalot doing Spiral here before Dark Mountain. A book and chess game. That opens up Desert, one of our pyramid crystals. We can't beat it yet, no fire source, but we can go in it. And also look at ledge. But yeah, SirLinkalot doing Spiral Cave here first because there's no mirror, so you have to do all the light world stuff first before we're at Dark World.
First chest in Thieves Town is the big key. Has to be really careful though. Vortex is already 1 touch away from death. That Salvos might wander in. Oh, barely dodges. SirLinkalot meanwhile is going to open up the Turtle Rock warp point. And today we find that it is Quake, in fact, and we'll open up Turtle Rock while he's here. Can't go into the dungeon yet. Lacking a key element in the fire rod.
You could go in for 1 check, but most people aren't going to do it here. We do have Samaria, so 1 check's on the table. Not the best play, but you could go for it. Not the safest play, I should say.
Yeah, looks like there wasn't anything of much in the front half here of not Skull, but Thieves Town. SirLinkalot, meanwhile, is going to be heading over to check a hookshot and Super Bunny.
A nice hookshot heart glitch there by Vortex to get 2 hearts instead of just 1. And they are going to go to the back and see what's in the back of Pendant Thieves.
And there's our 3rd medallion on SirLinkalot's side, so we do not care about medallions for Meyer if we need to go in there.
And now we do have logical access. Well, no, the bomb boss is out of logic, so technically not logical access to Ice Palace, but you could go to Ice Palace now if you wanted and full clear it.
And SirLinkalot is going to actually do the 1 undip here. Now, there is a set of key logic here in which SirLinkalot could get all the way to Laser Bridge without the fire rod, and it can just be there. But that first chest is a compass, which means the fire rod is hard required, so there is no advancing in this dungeon without it whatsoever.
Which, if you're SirLinkalot, that's usually what you want. You usually want to either get a good item out of that check or just be immediately locked out. It's so rough when you get like a key and then change up has a key. You have to keep diving, as you said, like Mimic Cave or Laser Bridge. It feels awful because you're like, I'm probably gonna get nothing out of this, but I'm already here. I gotta keep chasing it. So I don't mind. I like it when I get shut out right away.
Now, I believe these are the last 2 checks here of the mountain that we have available. There is Spike Cave, of course, but we don't have too much help for that. And as far as the majority of the checks are concerned, all we got off the mountain was bombos and a sword. That's
Also the
where
bow out of Hera.
true, true. So at the very least, we can deduce that the pod and Eastern are, for the most part, either lamp locked or flute locked, depending on which one we find first.
Yes. And this makes sense to me for SirLinkalot to go to Saha. I'm guessing they're also probably going to go in complete Eastern here. You know, they have a bow. It can fully beat it now. So that's probably the plan.
And there's our one and only bottle. Now, Vortex could, of course, find a different bottle here later, but only one for now.
So far we have found nothing in the back of Pendant Thieves for Vortex. So, and Thieves is not a green pendant. So hopefully, Vortex is hoping to find something here on blind, or it's going to be a feels bad moment for Vortex.
Perfect fight execution, though. And it is slightly useful. 300 rupees, which will put him close to Zora money. It's not progression by any means, but it's still something.
It's the best thing you could get that isn't like an item you need. So, and this happened to see with like no money. So yeah, it's not the worst thing, but yeah, definitely not what Vortex wants to see. This is gonna be purple chests. We saw hammer pegs already, right?
We did not.
Okay, I guess you're right. Yeah, hammer pegs. Purple chest. Okay, maybe both.
Both.
Okay, yeah, Smith didn't have anything, but if purple chest does, that's something SirLinkalot will not check for a long time, especially with that bow. Put them in a different direction. So this could be huge if it pays off.
Oh, we completely were overlooking this as we were looking at Vortex's side, but SirLinkalot has pulled the mirror out of Eastern Palace.
That's super nice because that bow is already paying off. Because Vortex similarly is probably not going to ever go to Eastern until they have a bow, and is not going to have that mirror for a while. That also means SirLinkalot is going to do Smith and Purple Chest sooner, most likely. Not necessarily, but they're more likely to do it. So Purple Chest has something. It's not as much of an advantage for Vortex as it would have been.
Another big key for Eastern Palace, which means this dungeon is logically locked behind the lamp, at the very least. Now, the blue could have been required to find our logical mountain access as well. Or the mirror, rather, sorry. And nothing in purple chest. And this is going to be a play to go into desert with that book.
This is a bit scary to do, but you don't have a fire source, so you know you can't beat it yet. If you can find a fire source in here, or just some other great item that you need for other parts of the game, then it's super worth, but it's definitely somewhat of a gamble to do at this point, since you can't beat it and it is a crystal. Although if you get, you also could be boots locked, but if it's not boots locked, you can get an item out of it, or 2 items, then, you know, you could always just, like, if you get flute later and mirror, you can just go do landmo later, potentially.
Yeah, and we're about to see the big chest here, although SirLinkalot is not opening it. I guess we found all 3 items. And that is the Boost Lock Desert.
Dang.
Got at least one item out of it, but it wasn't anything that we need. And it looks like Vortex will be heading over to the eastern area now.
And without the bow, that'll hurt a little bit. And no fire source either to put more of the checks in pod or eastern in logic. So that's a tough situation. It is automated. Vortex isn't going up the mountain, but that's the pod are going up mountain because, well, it's still out of logic. I think they're chasing the logic at this moment. To figure where they should be going.
I actually low-key like what Vortex is doing here because there is actually a rupee room in Eastern Palace that he can use to get up to 500 for Zora after this.
Yeah, Vortex could do that. Oh, not going into Eastern though. To Saha and then leaving.
That also makes some sense. We'll be put off from not getting the mirror right away, but doesn't know any better.
Yeah, I
He's
think
probably also going to signal Spring up the mountain here at this point.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Let's look at the mountain play now for Vortex.
And I think based on this movement, yes, he will be checking Aghanim now before it goes up. This is one of the few times you would actually go out of your way to do it, is on your way up the mountain. So let's see what this is as SirLinkalot gets his crystal. It is just a heart piece. Aghanim is off the table today.
Do you remember where that book was at? I forget where it was at.
I don't remember.
I'm sure someone in chat will tell us. I'm trying to think of when SirLinkalot will get that book. The reason I'm asking is since Maya's not required today, we don't actually need a flute if we find the lamp to put things in logic. So the book might be required if the flute's in GT or similar difficult. Or locked by desert in some way.
I believe it was actually in Thieves Town, but there's Master Sword for Vortex and soon to be for SirLinkalot.
I like how they both get the second sword being pretty much the exact same time. That's pretty funny. And yeah, the book was in the front of Thieves now that I think about it. It was the front of Thieves. Oh, it was in chess game. Chess game. That was it. Thank you, chat.
Now, here's the nice thing for Vortex's routing, is that when he goes up the Hera, he can make a small detour and check the Ether Tablet, which could have something that SirLinkalot just completely missed.
That's a really good point, because that's something that that's going to be isolated for a while. I mean, eventually SirLinkalot will probably be up there with the book when they have to actually go beat Hera, but that's going to be a long time from now, because there's not much else pushing SirLinkalot up the mountain until they have way more vital items. So yeah, that could be big Vortex if it pays off. Vortex could also do Spike Cape, which we have not seen, as we do have the cape to put it into logic.
Meanwhile, item density is going to be SirLinkalot's check here, as he is going to go into the... words are hard sometimes. Going to Swamp Palace here. Has everything he needs to clear this dungeon. 6 items available. Could have some progression easily in here.
Yeah, and good items. You got some more for easy diver down. You got Master Sword, which makes for not a bad Argus fight. Definitely a good play. I think everything is in logic. You get mirrors in logic. All your items are in logic to do this play. So definitely good move. The obvious question would be, does SirLinkalot do a left side swap at this point?
That's a good question. I think it's a safe bet that if you find one of the dungeon items, you go and do left side, because at that point you're isolating an item there and you know it.
Yeah, I feel like at this point I personally would do it, because you're starting to run out of things that are in logic, because everything I'm out is still not in logic. So you're starting to run out of like where you should logically go, where your flute could be, your lamp, some other vital item that leads to those. So I feel like left side swamp here makes sense, but you could still wait to do it after you do the back. A little slower maybe, but we'll see.
We shall see indeed. And here we go with the Ether Tablet check. And it's the Ice Rod! Good find!
Oof. Yeah.
But there's the lamp, which puts them out in logic.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So the question is going to be, SirLinkalot will likely go to Village of Outcasts soon and get that book. But the question would be, when does SirLinkalot go back up the mountain to do Hera? Because only things in Mountain SirLinkalot would want to go do would be go beat Hera for another item as well, Ether Tablet check, and then Spike Cave. And Spike Cave is not a great choice, so it still comes down to whenever SirLinkalot wants to go back up to Hera. And if you get to a point where Ice What's all you need, it's going to be a while before you go up there. And then there's the Flute and Flooded Room of Swamp for SirLinkalot. Both are mountain logic items in Swamp.
Yeah, which means the bow's now in logic too, don't forget. And it looks like Sir Vortex is going to be doing a Herapod here. Nice setup.
Let's see, we need... Is Fire Rod? I think Fire Rod's all we need at this point, right? This Fire Rod. And...
No, we need boots.
Oh yeah, for desert, you're right. We need boots. I forgot about that. Good point. Okay, 2 items away from no mode or go mode, whatever you want to call it.
And on that aside, another sword would be nice, but both our runners with Silver's information, they just have to go pick it up. Linkalot has the ability to do so. And down goes Moldorm. And there's the second item. So the Herapod was not punished here. In fact, it benefits Vortex because he doesn't have to come back.
Yeah, that's really nice. I suppose the positive is that by not beating Hera, SirLinkalot will actually be more likely to go. We'll have to go back later, and we'll check Ether Tab at the same time for the Ice Rod. So unintentionally, SirLinkalot will actually end up helping themselves by having not finished Hera.
Oof. And a map on Argus that they're not seeing any dungeon items thus far, which means there is going to be an item on the left side at the very least. But SirLinkalot is not going back. I'm not too keen on this, but we'll see. If you're down to like 1 or 2 items left, I don't leave anything to chance at this point. But it looks like SirLinkalot is going to be going down and getting the silver arrows now, and possibly transitioning over to Ice Palace, which is also in logic thanks to Bombos.
Yeah, it makes sense. Right now, just keep clearing your crystal dungeons that you can beat. Because it's about your only one open right now that you can do. Might as well. Oh, not doing it though. Going to go a different direction. Probably activate Flute. That makes sense.
Yeah, and as a result, doing the Thieves Town, Skullwoods area, which he has not touched yet, actually. So he will be also getting his book at some point here if he continues into the Dark World.
Yeah, and I don't expect they'll spend much time in Thieves. Maybe to the front of it, if that, because they have a few more progression items. Well, yeah, they not really. They have the flute and lamp, but
all right, that's spicy, Vortex. I see what you're gonna do. Vortex using the generic shop and buying a red potion, which I think that just telegraphs to me he's thinking about doing Spike Cave at the end of this.
yeah, I'd say you're probably right.
In.
Makes sense to do it. Well, it makes sense to do it now. Yeah.
Alright, Flute online now for SirLinkalot. Heading over to the desert region. And with the mirror, can also do the minor checks. So let's see what we get here.
We have Mirashet, Checkerboard Cave. SirLinkalot can also get into Desert and find out it's boot locked as well, which we'll probably see them do, and could enter Pendant Mire if they really felt like it.
Our third sword inside Mire Shed. That is going to be a great farm for SirLinkalot. Fully equipped for the Ganon fight now.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice, easy fight. In terms of our offensive weapons, we're in a pretty good situation now. Also, Vortex, I believe, left after Hookshot Cave, and did not do Spike Cave. It looks like Vortex is gonna go into Ice Palace.
I kind of like this. Ice into Pod Eastern.
Yeah, it's a good play, especially since you don't know if you need to go. You don't know if you need to go into Pod or not yet, and Vortex doesn't have a lamp to put into Logic. Although it is interesting that Vortex is going to Ice before Swamp. I think it makes sense to me, so you have more information on whether you do left side or not. But yeah, Vortex here very cool choosing Ice over Swamp, even though both are crystal dungeons that are available in Logic.
Gonna be a checkerboard cave here, meanwhile, from SirLinkalot. Only 3 items here in Ice Palace, so we'll see sooner or later. Ah, that's right! Wait, Vortex does not have the mirror, so cannot do Swamp Palace. Good catch, chat. Good catch.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it's an Eastern, isn't it? It's Eastern map chest. Yep.
And Checkerboard Cave, meanwhile, had a green pile of 20 rupees, which means that was our 4th sword.
Now SirLinkalot does that Aegis check that Vortex had to go out of the way for at the very beginning, but now SirLinkalot was able to easily just combine it with the rest of the Mire checks. Save a little bit of time in routing.
And it looks like we will be heading into Ice Palace here as well for SirLinkalot. First item found, and it is the bug catching net. Actually does have its uses here in this mode. With only having 1 bottle here, you might want to use it on a ferry, for all we know.
Honestly, yeah, it can be pretty nice, especially in like GT climb. Like grab some ferries, or whenever you Harry Pot, grab an easy ferry. It can definitely be helpful in saving yourself.
Yeah, combine that with having the powder, and you just get any ferry whenever you want. As long as there's an anti-ferry nearby.
That too, yeah, good point.
Second item, and it is the boots. So there's our desert access. 1 item left to find in this scene, and that is the fire rod. And the fire rod could be anywhere, except for GT and Turtle Rock, and the Skullwoods boss.
Yeah, my guess right now is it's going to be... My guess is probably Pod, but there are plenty of places that Firewalk can still be. That's 3 items out of Ice Palace, I believe, right? Yeah, the Bug Net, Boots, and Heart Piece. So nothing more in Ice Palace.
Alright.
Could be in Pendant Mire, too. That'd be pretty gross.
Could be. Of course, it could also be the powder or the mushroom, which would allow them to do the fairies as we were theorizing earlier, but that's just a minor thing at this point.
Yeah, we haven't seen like K45, Graveyard Ledge, Catfish, any of the boost checks. So there's lots of overworld spots as well. A Spike Cave that are all in Logic that we haven't seen. So quite a bit of overworld possibilities and a couple dungeons that could have the Fire Rod.
Alright, here we go with the Cold Stare fight, meanwhile. Cold Stare does not have an item. Great corralling of the puffs there for Vortex. Clean Cold Stare fight.
Very impressive fight, yeah. That's an amazing fight. Wow. And
getting a small key from that, which is kind of a weird logic niche if you know it. This means that the Cold Stare was logically locked by the Cane of Samaria. Because you can't do the intended puzzle without that key.
Where was Vortex going next?
Considering Boots, gonna check King's Tomb.
This makes sense. Boots checks. Yep, we haven't seen those yet. Probably do a few overworld checks, and then my guess is we'll see Easter next from Vortex. SirLinkalot getting their boots.
I don't believe any runner has did pod yet.
No, they've all avoided pod. We've seen Pendant Thief from Vortex. By the way, we haven't seen any Pendants yet.
Yeah, and it makes sense that we're gonna avoid pod because it is a pendant and has a. Although 5 items, any one of them could be our fire rod at the same time. So
yeah, and even
maybe
Grocer. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Maybe we'll see something there when we do Eastern as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Vortex, meanwhile, getting his 1 bottle is going to go ahead and turn into the kid and get a heart container.
I was going to add, Pod's also a green pendant, so it's even grosser. And so, even more reason to put it off, because you go there, you might want to consider do you get helmet or not. But nobody really wants to do that. But we have plenty of overworld spots, plenty of things to check before we'd even consider, I would say, Pendant Pod at this point.
Alright, Vortex looking to the end of Eastern Palace will be getting his mirror at long last. And SirLinkalot now with full fast travel available to him. Is looking to be going into Mire.
I think Desert first, now because his boot's locked. But then Mire after that, maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, Mire's out. It's going to be Desert first.
Yeah, it's a crystal you can beat. You can get. I think we already saw 1 item in map chest, so there's 1 item left. So just do the crystal dungeon you have to do, and then, we'll see what happens. And Vortex would not be able to do this after Eastern, even though they'll have mirror and book because they still won't have the lamp from Swamp.
Yep,
but Vortex will probably. Sorry, yeah, the big key on torch there. Nice. Oh, and then mirror for Vortex, yeah.
Yeah, and because of how the key logic works, there must be a small key here in the big chest. There it is.
And that routing by SirLinkalot makes sense. They haven't found the 2nd item. But yeah, you go ahead and beat land mode, which you know you have to do. And if there's no item on land mode, like it's map or compass instead, then you go right side, desert. But if there is a unique check on land mode, then you save time by skipping all of desert right side.
Yeah, now granted, it's not too much of a time sink to do because you can just cut the backtracking with the mirror. And you would most likely do that right side check if you had a small key in central chest. But the Lambo fight with Silvers is going to be a cakewalk here for SirLinkalot. And remember to grab that extra small key so that he can, just in case.
Yeah, I'd be very unfortunate to have to come all the way back for that. And we can do a nice Silvers fight here since SirLinkalot has made the effort to go grab those off like Kylie Island.
And it's only the compass here, but it is another crystal.
Oh, there was an item in Eastern Big Chest that SirLinkalot skipped. It was only a heart piece, but interesting that SirLinkalot would skip that heart piece or that check.
Probably took a calculated risk and went straight to the boss instead. Hoped it was there. Still, it's not a big deal. And of course, it's going to be the last place we look here in Desert Palace. And it's something red, but it's not the red item we need. It's just 20 rupees. Our most quick kill being set up here meanwhile. Looking good. Yep, there it is. Perfect. Hey, that looked easy, and there's some extra money. Zora still hasn't been checked. Catfish has not been checked. Pyramid Ledge has not been checked. So many locations that our runners could still do.
Yeah, quite a few. So I expect next Vortex is gonna, now they have those, have the mirror, they'll go do Swamp. Ideally, they grab the silvers off the Kylie after that. Then they'll probably go beat Desert. So Vortex's next moves seem pretty straightforward. SirLinkalot's, not as straightforward. Because they basically are just like, they need Fire Rod and Ice Rod. And they don't have any crystals to beat at the moment besides Hera, but Hera's something you'd prefer to just wait as long as possible, especially when you've already been there and gotten one item out of it.
Alright, so this is looking to be... Ooh, the Zero kind of trolling Vortex here, but it looks like he's going to check Cave South for Grove.
Yeah, I like this play. It's a good idea to check this play here. Also, I believe has not done Bombo's Tablet, so you can do both of these before or after Swamp. Definitely really nice. Good call.
Yeah, and makes sense because these checks are isolated otherwise because, well, he's already done the purple chest. Blue ruby there. That could have been any one of our shields, armors. At this point, we've already got so many that it's too late to tell anymore.
Okay, final score what's with SirLinkalot. This makes sense. SirLinkalot hasn't even been to Village of Outcasts the entire seed yet. So, lots to check over here for SirLinkalot.
We actually have a good question in chat here. Why did Vortex pick up the pots if they knew the item was a 5 ruby? Well, the answer is simply, all of those pots in that cave have recovery hearts underneath them, so we picked them up for a bit of a heal.
Vortex could do left side here. SirLinkalot did not. I forget, did we ever see Map of Compass in the first trip into Swamp?
Yes! Unfortunately, the map was on the boss.
So Vortex could consider left side here. They have a few less good options in front of them, although they do know they have Mire area because they have not gotten the flute, which they're going to have in a moment. So my guess is they probably don't do left side because they're going to get that flute, but they could choose to do left side on the first trip in. I'm guessing we don't do left side here, but maybe I'll be wrong.
Well, here's the situation. Once Vortex gets the flute and the lamp, he knows he'll be a single item away from go mode. At that point, I would not risk isolating one location in a dungeon if it meant that I would potentially last location it. So he might end up choosing the route of being thorough here and just getting it done once he gets to the other 2 items.
Yeah, that's a valid point. When you're one item go mode, and that item can be basically anywhere except TR or Active Skull Woods, pretty scary to leave the item behind.
Yeah. Now, of course, Vortex has not been into Turtle Rock to know that it's fire unlocked, but at the same time, that's not too hard to check.
Something scary that could happen for SirLinkalot is if they find this fire rod before they go up to Ether Tablet, whenever they do Hera, they, because, Ice Rod's on Ether Tablet, which I expect SirLinkalot to check whenever they go do Hera. If SirLinkalot finds the fire rod, somewhere inconvenient first, they might choose to save Hera until, in theory, after TR, or they do it right before GT. The Ice Rod in Ether Tablet could end up being a bad situation for SirLinkalot, depending on where Fire Rod is, and if SirLinkalot chooses to do Hera/Ether Tablet before or after TR. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
So we have remaining in this dungeon here, from what I understand. For Vortex, we have the compass, which we know is on compass speaking in the last item.
No, we have not seen Bombos Tablet yet, chat. We've not seen it. We've seen Ether Tablet, which had Ice Rod, but not Bombos. I could see SirLinkalot going all the way to the back here. Oh, might just leave and still Spiff Chain, lots of other overworld to do. So we'll see what happens. Nice second phase by vortexofdoom there. I think that was 4 Ice Bud shots in a row. Second phase.
Alright. Moment of truth. Does Vortex go back into Swamp Palace?
SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and focus with Thieves here, which makes sense. You're looking for both of your rods. You don't have any other great, you don't really have a great option. So just kind of do the kind of bad options while they're faster to go ahead and knock them out.
Alright. Vortex is going to be leaving behind the one item here and is going to check Bombos instead. Could pay out. And it's just money.
I wonder when Vortex will get those silvers on Hylia, because that would have been a good time to do it after Swamp. Well, if you're doing Bombos Tablet, I don't know when. We'll see that.
Yeah, he's kind of isolated them. Might have only just glanced and didn't really think about it too much. Then again, with NMG routing, is probably more familiar with the Silverless strats than most, so he does have that NMG background. But right now, with the equipment he has, that's going to be a lot of spin attacks in order to beat. Gonna get the flute online here in the meantime.
Yeah, and she get tempered out of Mire Shed in a bit, because I expect Vortex is going to go to Mire area. Right now, do those checks, check Desert, well, beat Desert Palace. Where Vortex goes after that will be interesting, because they'll be in a very similar spot to SirLinkalot. They'll already have Ice Rod, but with that Fire Rod, you're still locked out of you're out of Skull Woods and Turtle Rock, the 2 dungeons you actually want to beat.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see here.
Yeah, now that Vortex is tempered, I don't know when they go grab silvers, because you have to go all the way in Dark World and swim over there, run and swim over there, and you only need them for Skull Wood to TR, so it only speeds up Ganon, basically. So, it's not going to be that time efficient to go grab them at this point.
Alright, blind fight here, meanwhile, from SirLinkalot.
And Vortex is not even grabbing the small key on the left side there, which honestly actually makes sense, because if you it actually makes more sense to actually just wait to do it when you go back in, if you have to even do right side. That's actually smart routing by Vortex.
Indeed. Alright, there we go. Blind down.
One thing for SirLinkalot is, well, both players did do Pendant Thieves here. SirLinkalot did them with boots, so it was a faster series of checks on their end. We still haven't seen Pendant Pod at all. We still haven't seen Pendant Mire. We have not seen Catfish, Zora, Graveyard Ledge, Pyramid, Spike Cave. I think that's it. Yeah, so SirLinkalot doing Smith's Chain here, which makes sense. Looking for 2 items, do this while you're here, knock out the whole thing. And you have mirror, so you can do it quickly, efficiently, combined, Bomble's Tablet, K45. You know, really nice, efficient routing here. Really do it at this point with these items. Vortex is going to go ahead and finish Desert here. And find the second item. It'll just be 20 rupees, but it makes sense. You're here, go ahead and knock it out. You're just one item go mode. And you don't really want to go do a lot of... The main checks Vortex has aren't exactly ones you want to go do. So, knock out these easier ones while you're in the area. Yeah, I'm personally feeling that Fire Rod's probably in pod at this point. We haven't touched it. Obviously, it doesn't have to be there, but you know, you have a pendant pod, 5 items plus some screen pendant makes it a 6 item play. I feel that's where Vortex would probably go next if he wants to do the more conventional play. That seems like the way to go with pod completely in logic at this point.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Okay, Vortex is going into pod. We'll find out if pod has the Fire Rod or not.
Yeah. Starting with the new item checks here, and I just want to, as we get to an hour here, we want to give a minor quick shout out to our tracker KYF, keeping those items up to date for you. At the bottom of the screen is there. Hopefully, we will find that Fire Rod soon enough. And I hope they are okay with me using the initials of their name, and from what I can tell.
If pod doesn't have the Fire Rod, things are going to get really interesting of which not great checks you go do next. I mean, pod... Well, like, even if, like, non-Helma part of pod, like, the non-boss doesn't have the answer, this is gonna get extra nasty.
Well, even if pod doesn't have anything of importance, the next logical play would be to check Central Little Dark World up towards Catfish and Sora.
Yeah, I agree. I think the main question there would be, do you do Pyramid into Catfish Zora, or do you do Graveyard Ledge into Catfish Zora?
You do Hobo to Pyramid first, and then probably weave in Graveyard Ledge. You haven't done it yet, yeah.
I was thinking, did the players not do Hobo yet? I thought at least one of them did.
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Too long ago. Don't remember. But if they haven't done Homo, I totally agree with you. That would be the play. Graveyard Ledge is such an awful check to go do. That feels, yeah. I personally probably lean towards Pyramid. And since Skullwoods is one of your Pyramid crystals is Fire Rod locked, I mean, you know you're never checking Pyramid Fairy for Fire Rod.
No, but at this point, it's pretty safe to say that it's. Actually, could be a ped, actually. But we'll have to wait and see. It's probably the last place our runners are going to look is pedestal, but...
Yeah. That would be super gross. It's possible. You have Myron Pod, which I mean are going to be two things that we look into here. I don't know if I would go do more Overworld before Meyer. What our players will choose. Do more Overworld to Pod the answer before Meyer, or the opposite order. We'll see.
We shall see indeed. Alright, back of Pod here. Nice over here for the hammering up.
Yeah, nice round my vortex. Being that we already have the big key, is the faster way to route it. Yeah, pretty smart way to do it. And you get that early pod big key, which was in Mickey chest. Vanilla.
And we've seen a lot of 300s here. We've got to be close to getting all of them at this point. And there's the last dungeon item, so Helma has an item.
Plus green pendant. I hate the scenario. Ugh. Pretty much everything left in this game is just not something you really want to check.
I mean, with the route that Vortex is available, it's this dungeon to Green Pendant turn into Hobo to Central Pyramid, and then eventually to Catfish Ore from there. Optionally, maybe going to do the detour to Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, Vortex and SirLinkalot can both route the remaining checks pretty well together. It's just that some of those checks are things that you know your opponent could have thrown in earlier, like a catfish play, or done. They could have done the Zora check earlier, and that could be the answer. And that would just feel, it would just feel bad knowing that it could just be one of those checks that you could have done a long time ago, that your opponent could have done a long time ago, and you could just be, you know, behind. You know, for Vortex it's basically an Ice Rod hunt, except it's Fire Rod. For SirLinkalot it's like double Ice Rod hunt at the moment. So just a rough scenario. And Vortex is going here for the Helma / Green Pendant, which makes complete sense at this point.
Yeah, and to someone's credit here, both of them also left an item behind in Swamp House. That could be our Fire Rod for all we know.
Yeah. For SirLinkalot, for the sake of SirLinkalot, because they still haven't beaten Hera and they have not gotten the Ice Rod from Ether Tablet, it would be to their benefit for the Fire to not be locked by Helma here, and it'd be better for SirLinkalot to get the Fire Rod first, because they are slightly behind. I mean, GT routing could obviously change things a little bit, but SirLinkalot would be better to have the Fire Rod. Although we'll have Silver, so we'll save it a little bit of time on Ganon, but not a lot.
I'd say it's too close to call in that regard.
Yeah, it's a bit close to call because of GT routing, and SirLinkalot does have Silver to even it out a little bit. But I definitely would prefer Vortex's situation right now, if I was in their shoes.
And Helmosur has the Cane of Burna. Not what we were after, but another safety item to have.
And we'll see the Green Pendant turn in into all the checks that Link mentioned earlier, you know, Pyramid, Catfish, Zora. I would expect to see that.
And Green Pendant, only a heart piece. So, Pod was bait. And yeah, no fast travel or anything else. So this intends that he wants to stay in this region, so he is definitely heading over to this little diving platform just off the river here, and that will allow him to mirror and check the end of the bridge. Although he's not doing that, he's actually going straight to the pyramid.
I do think both players did do Hobo early because they did get flippers really early, and I think they checked it before Aga. So I think Yuri did Hobo. I believe they did. So I think that's why he's not doing it now. I think Hobo was like bombs or something, if I remember right.
It's been a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to remember that early in the game.
Okay, so Pyramid Ledge was nothing. Let's see where he's going next. Got the hook shot out. This is a Graveyard Ledge play.
And then I guess maybe they'll route back over to do Azura and Catfish after this if they don't find it. That actually makes good sense. Yeah, I actually like this. I would have never thought about this.
Yeah, this is just a small detour to checking Catfish Zora. And it is not here at Graveyard Ledge.
Okay, so SirLinkalot is leaving though. Oh, they're just floating away. Okay. Is this faster? Even maybe? I don't know. Even-ish?
I think it might be slightly faster, depending if you don't get attacked. Because you can just dash straight across instead of having to navigate the twists and turns of the maze.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd say it's debatable.
I think it's probably faster just to run out of pod once you add all the like fluting and mirroring through the portal. I was running out. Well, I would think Vortex is a little bit faster by a few seconds at least.
All right, if it's not Catfish, it's Zora at this point.
Still have Meyer and Ped and Spike Cave
and Left Side Swamp
and Left Side Swamp. Yes. Ugh.
And survey says it is a heart container. Horses will gladly take it.
Although I suppose there was like no money in the early game, so you can feel like pretty confident your opponent most likely skipped Zora as well. You're not gonna feel great if Zora has Fire Rod, but you would know your opponent also would have not done an early Zora, and would also be doing it at least somewhat late, even if it was sooner than you.
And King's Orange has had some explosives. So it's either Meyer, Left Side Swamp, or Pedestal at this point, I think.
Or Spike Cave.
It looks like Vortex is going to be deciding Spike Cave. That red potion he bought so long ago is finally coming into play. And just a heart piece in Spike Cave.
Yeah, SirLinkalot can save time by not doing Spike Cave check and going to Meyer or Left Side Swamp. But the correct answer in a different order than Vertex. We'll see. Okay, Meyer play. And this makes sense. This is a 3-item play now because of Ped. And you already skipped Left Side Swamp. You don't really want that to be the answer. So, it makes complete sense.
I'm still thinking about the mountain and how barren it was other than the bow.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it only had just the bow. And the bow itself didn't lead to any progression items. Yet, at least, unless Ped's being an answer.
And Bombo
Yeah.
was up there too, but we've
Ice
just
Rod.
seen that it's vanilla.
I saw it was up there on Ether Tablet.
Yeah,
But still, like, not the items that are immediately vital were on there. Yeah. And your bow did not lead to any particular items, just led to a crystalline Eastern Palace.
Yeah, which is making me think that I think the fire run might be earlier. So I'm starting to think it is Left Side Swamp, like legitimately.
Also, it definitely could be, and that's actually a good point by chat. With book, you could have checked pet already.
Oh, there's the fire rod.
Never mind.
Never mind.
it's just right there on the. As SirLinkalot gets their ice rod, it is being Hera. So after Hera, I would think Mario will be one of the first things SirLinkalot will go do.
Yep, that is go mode now for Vortex of Doom. Just has to go to Skull Woods and Turtle Rock. Now, we don't really call all that a Godmire route when you get the big key in that specific chest. I guess that's the somewhat of a similar stretch if you think about it.
Okay, kind of what's a guide mire? You got one item in the chest you normally check first, and then you got to leave. That to me sounds like a guide mire. Check one chest, then leave after you get what you want.
Yeah.
That's the optimal mire.
It's not what we usually expect, because that one item is normally the big key, but it still works. And what SirLinkalot was doing was the super speed strat for the Harapot there. It's not a new setup. It's just more of a. It's a one for people who can't don't know how to finagle the bombs, which I admittedly am one of them. So I prefer doing the super speed strat.
I've never learned it. I would just do the newest bomb strat. I mean, I know the method you're talking about, the spin speed, is faster, or the hook speed if you get it first try. But it's tricky. And Vortex shouldn't feel. I can't imagine Vortex feels great. I mean, if I was in Vortex shoes, I would know I made very reasonable plays, and realistically, they got the fire rod and Pendant mire at a reasonable time. Because most people are probably going to do pod first, but they also know SirLinkalot or the opponent could have easily gone to mire first because they didn't want to do Pendant pod and some of those gross overworld checks. So if I was in Vortex's shoes, I wouldn't feel great, but I wouldn't feel terrible. And SirLinkalot might feel a bit bad about the ice web placement.
Yeah, and at this point, SirLinkalot knows it's probably a mire. And you're gonna wisely fill up the bottle with blue potion here.
Not a bad idea. And not a wise play. You got TR, you have GT and Ganon, just have it. I mean, yeah, you have silvers and temper, but it'll make your climb easier. It means you don't have to worry about dying to try next or something silly. Just play it safe. You gotta take some time to go grab that potion when you have flute.
Would not be surprised if Vortex does the same thing here.
Wait, did they buy blue potion or not, Vortex?
They did not. I think they actually muscle memoried over there.
That's funny. Okay, they just really don't want that blue potion. I mean, they don't need it. You have... Well, actually, they don't have silvers, but you still have tempered, so it won't be your Ganon fight. You're fine. It's not like you're a Master Sword silverless or something. I mean, and if you're a Vortex's level, yeah, you definitely don't need it.
Yeah.
But if you flew over there by accident, I mean... It'd be tempting not to just go ahead and buy the potion at that point. I know I would. But...
Well, he was at full health, so he'd have to get attacked and then drink the red potion.
That's true. Even more time waste. Valid point. Yeah. I forgot about the red potion. Yeah, if you already have a red potion, then yeah, you really don't need it then. Because you should be fine on magic for Ganon, GT, and all that.
Yeah, and Vortex is going to lean into his NMG routing here. He should be perfectly fine with Tempered Sword or Silverless no half magic, no mail.
Yeah, as an NMG player, this is easy. This is more than he normally gets, so this is fine. More hearts, like what, one more heart or something more than normal, or maybe even. I forget how. I think it's like 13.
13, 14 if you take the sand cart, which, yeah, this is pretty much, he's pretty much at the level he
13.
wants to be for NMG, so.
Okay, yeah, he's literally has NMG equipment. Okay. Plus, but you don't normally get cape or Borna in NMG, I think. So it's even easier. I don't think you do. Pretty sure you don't.
Yeah, they're a little bit too far out of the way.
So even easier.
SirLinkalot now in go mode meanwhile, and on the way, Pickett stole SirLinkalot's shield. Alright. Cortez now going to Turtle Rock's first floor.
Well, item was in a compass room. It was actually compass, wasn't it? Vanilla. Did I see that right?
Yeah.
Okay, still need to get big key.
Which is either here or it's in vanilla.
Okay, but now they can steal a key off Pokey and then, you know, risk the 3% chance of skipping big chests.
Yeah, the question is, will he actually do the risk strats here? He doesn't know he's ahead. As far as he's aware, he's maybe 20 minutes behind.
I can't imagine he won't go for it, that he won't make the skip, but maybe. Yeah, it's only like a 3% risk, so pretty much any top player or even mid-level player is going to skip that big chest and take the risk. They are in go mode, chat. They're just, yeah, they got, both to beat TR, and then they're off to GT.
Alright, Pokepoke's down, and is in fact giving the big key chest. So we'll see what's coming over this way.
Oh, good.
And the small key in the crystal roller room, that is just
Yep.
super free. That means he can just go straight to Trinus without even having to touch the laser bridge.
I love it when the small key's there, because otherwise I'm always like a little bit nervous as I'm going through this dark maze platform room with the fire bars, and I'm just like, please don't 3% me, because I haven't 3%ed before, and I'm always nervous, but you get that small key in crystal roll, you can just relax, you know, it's smooth sailing. It's a good feeling.
Alright, onwards to Trinex. That mini helmet was in the way to block the crystal shot.
Yeah, I hate that mini Helma. It's like there's plenty of strats to get around with it, but the fastest strats, if you don't execute them right, can be affected by that stupid mini Helma.
Minor mistake there, missing the platform creation. There's also a little bit of magic.
Actor strats, nice. That's what I would expect for Vortex in the scenario. Oh, they missed one of their sword slashes there and didn't quite get the kill.
I think it was...
Well, they want to get hit, yeah. They only have 4 hearts. That's actually what it was. My bad.
Oh, no, I think it was actually, they did what I would like to consider a frame imperfect hit. They hit it just as the vulnerability came back up, so it didn't actually become vulnerable again.
Oh, I hate when that happens. happens all the time when I do hammer strats from the front. Yeah. But good for Vortex to do it on 4 hearts, where you were 1 hit away the whole time. 1 hit from death, so good job by him. Because there was no fairy or anything. That was death if you got hit.
Yeah, and we see some numbers flying in chat, and you guys want to probably get your numbers in here on the Twitch side of things, as we are going to have our favorite little guessing game. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower, only one of which can contain the Ganon's Tower big key we need to ascend to finish the seed. Give us a number where you think it's going to be. Chat? Or Specs, what do you think?
I always say 5, so I'm going with 5.
I want this to be interesting. Compass room.
I don't mind Compass Room. I'm a fan of that. I'm a DM router, so Compass Room's great. Well, this is a key and hope room, then I don't like it as much.
Well, it's going to be a traditional route here, as we check hope room first. And there's the magic powder at long last. Torch is only 20 rupees.
Okay, we're at 3.
And now time for Stalfo's room. Small key, 20 rupees. Another small key. 3 small keys?
That's the DM, just full of keys. Just loads of keys and nothing else.
Map chest, 20 rupees.
See, we've done 8 checks so far. So next, we would do 9, 10, 11, 12 here, random room, right?
No,
we have Fire
yet.
Snake. Yep, Fire Snake.
Yeah, we have Fire Snake, and then we have Rando Room.
Okay, 9 here, then 10, 11, 12, 13 in random room.
And it is, in fact, 9 with the Fire Snake room.
I don't think I see 9s in chat, unfortunately.
Now we have a couple 8s, a couple... Oh, a singular 10, I believe. But no 9s, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is looking like Vortex should be able to get a win here, you know, barring any major catastrophes, but Vortex, you know, 125 MG runner and most good players, you know, they're not going to mess up, make any major mistakes at this point that would cost them the race. Should be good to go to get this win. So between themselves, they'll have gone, assuming that's what happens, we'll see, they'll go even between each other. SirLinkalot having won the first race between them, and Vortex most likely winning this one.
Yeah. So, SirLinkalot will be in a decent position to defend this. I believe that will be a 3-3, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary situation to be, because you know you have a pretty good, you still have a decent shot, especially since, you know, a lot of your other people in the group are also going to probably go 3-3 or struggle to consistently, you know, just dominate. But you're definitely going to feel nervous for a week while your opponents finish out all the races and you see where things fall and you don't have any more control over it. That's how I would feel, at least. But 3-3, you know, I mean, how tough these groups are is a pretty good finishing and a reasonable chance, still a reasonable chance to make it through, depending on tiebreakers.
Alright, SirLinkalot about to get his 3 keys. Meanwhile, the wizard rooms are getting cleared up pretty quick and clean here. And Vortex is just getting pure execution mode here, leaning on the NMG background. Probably the only thing that could possibly distract him is his pet cat, which I believe his name is Luca, if I recall correctly.
I think it was Luna, but yeah.
Luna? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I knew I would forget.
You're good.
And there's the big key for SirLinkalot, and Vortex is already at the top of the tower. This is easily a 4-minute difference at most.
Yeah, so even if Vortex was to fall, which I would be, like, in the final phase, which, again, I would be shocked if Vortex did. That would be very unlikely, if he did. But even if he did, it wouldn't... He'd be ahead enough to where he should be okay.
Yeah, Vortex is going to be looking pretty here going into the Agate 2 fight.
Just imagine if you grab those silvers off of Lake Hylia Island. You know? Be even faster.
Well, true. The energy hoarders don't normally get the silver, so he's still in his comfort zone even without them.
Yeah, I mean, he'll have no problem. But he could have saved, you know, like a matter of
Ooh.
seconds.
Vortex using that Ganon shows great effect. He's gonna get right up close to Agatum and clones and using that to great effect. Just instant reflex. I have never seen an Agatum fight like go that hard with the reflections. Alright, it is time to go fight Ganon. And yeah, he is just fully equipped in terms of his gear. A little sloppy with the dash strats. Still gets the 1-in-1. Very nicely done.
Yeah, it was a little close, but yeah. Still just fine.
Two quick spin attacks to start things off. I set up the torch glitch. And now he has to do spin attacks at the again teleport away. Little minor detail if you pay attention to it is you might see Ganon lift his arms up just before he teleports away. That is the window opportunity to strike for a silverless head. It's a very narrow window, which is why we're using spin attacks, because that hitbox just lasts so long. And there we go. Vortex of Doom has defeated Ganon with a very clean silverless fight. GG's to him as he will finish this race. And
SirLinkalot should finish, what, about 3 minutes behind or so, maybe a little less.
Vortex has finished with an official time of 1:32.25. SirLinkalot is still going to keep going.
I think this will make SirLinkalot. Oh, we have Vortex in the room. Hey, Vortex. GG's.
Congratulations on the win in Vortex. GG's once again. Welcome to the sea here as we watch SirLinkalot fight Agatum.
Yeah, I was extremely nervous at the end of this one. I think this is the first time I've used the lamp for torch glitch since like before I got a 129 in NMG. Like I was terrified at the end. I think I really needed this win, just with the way SirLinkalot's matches went. If he swept me, and like if Tudor swept me, he would have the tiebreaker, even if. But I think with this win, I think if I get one more win, I should at worst get a race off.
Yeah, you're 2-1, and SirLinkalot's now 3-3 versus what would have been 4-2. Yeah, definitely a important match to get for you.
But yeah, the early game felt really, really bad. Once I got the bow and bombos and boots and mirror, like I was like near the end game, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not like doomed because this fire rod's stupid, but you could have had all that stuff way earlier, and I think SirLinkalot did. He said in the race room. The silvers were really awkward because like the best time to get them was after swamp, but I had to do Bombo's tablet, and I made the call. I was like, okay, I might, like, if I am not finding another sword and it's time to go to pod, maybe I'll start hype and get them on the way. But once I found Tempered in Mire Shed, I didn't think they would save time anymore to go to the portal again.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah, if you have to walk back over to like Hylia from Bombo's tablet, it becomes a bigger argument if it's worth it. You could go back later if you don't find the third. So that makes complete sense. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you.
Yeah. The other, like, I did almost the whole game other than Left Side Swamp, which he didn't do it either, he said. I don't think many people are doing Left Side Swamp there when...
Yeah, you guys had, for the first half, your round was a bit different. SirLinkalot went into Mountain a lot earlier, and did Village of Outcasts pretty much towards the end. Like, after they did most of the rest of Dark World, Eastern Palace, Mountain. They also, when they went to Hera, since they went to Mount earlier, they went to Hera earlier. They chose not to beat Hera, so they didn't have Book yet from Chess Game, so they were later to that Ice Rod. But for the last half of the game, you guys made pretty much the same decisions. What order you went to go check, the overworld and the pendant dungeons. So, yeah, if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't have been afraid, because SirLinkalot could have easily gone to Mire beforehand and made a different decision than you. But luckily, you guys made similar decisions, and things worked out for your end, where you just got those other decisions, like the same decisions, faster.
And speaking of faster, we do have SirLinkalot finishing up this race here with an official time of 1:35.26. GG's to him as well. Oh, very strong showing in this race. And we'll see about getting him in here momentarily as well.
He said he had to go into work. Got a call during the race, apparently. So he's not going to be here. But
okay. So he's declined interview. Okay, that's understandable. Well, GG's to him all the same.
Yeah, there's two things. This is the first time I have ever killed Green Pendant Helma before last location in a tournament race. And I was extremely angry that it didn't have anything.
Yeah, you can't feel good after that play, but it's also like, if you don't do it now, it's a massive time to come back. Could be the answer. Not like you had anything that was like a great check you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Tough call. Very tough call.
Nothing was good. But I did the pyramid, and I had a race yesterday where I put off the pyramid, fairy, and pyramid, which turned out to be the answer because I didn't want to go back and like commit to doing front of escape. And the lesson I learned was like, if you don't want to do it, just don't. So that's why I didn't do front of escape today, because I was like, I don't think it's there. And
oh yeah, you did do front of escape. I forgot about that. SirLinkalot did that actually pretty early in the race, like very early.
Yeah,
when they did uncles.
I figured that if he wasn't an uncle router, he probably was doing front of escape because the weapons were kind of free. I didn't think it was a very good place for me, and it was a lot of time to commit. Looking at the times, I think I probably just barely had time to do it, but not much more. Sense. Like, it was just, everything felt so terrible. I knew Mire was going to be late, but I knew Like you could do the whole first half of the seed like twice as fast as I did. It feels like with like you just get your bombos into boots and bow and everything right away. You could leave Ice Rod for a little bit, but like worst case, I feel like you get it on the way to TR.
Yeah, but the was that you were probably gonna do it because the book was pretty easy to get. Even if you did Hero earlier, you probably would check that on, as you said, on the way to TR. If you were hoping for Ice Rod and TR, you'd check that first. So, yeah, this did not look like a fun seed to play in the last half because it was just like you have so many choices. You know, it was basically Ice Rod Hunt, but for your Fire Rod. And you had so many not particularly great options. And if your opponents picked different ones, or they got the boot sooner, as you mentioned, like, I can't imagine you felt great during this race.
No, I like the Ice Rod almost seemed like the Ice Rod scared me after I got Fire Rod because like, you know, you like do the whole mountain, you have the book, you don't want to go up for Ether Tablet, you're missing 2 items for go, like maybe you're a little more likely to, you know, go to Pendant Mire because you don't think both of them will be in like Pod or Thieves Town, or well, you probably did Thieves Town when you got the book, but like I just like missing 2 items might have led you to the Fire Rod faster. I was just obviously lots of doomsday scenarios playing out in my head for the back half of the race, but I just had to had to try my best to execute, and until the last like 3 minutes, I feel like I did a really good job executing.
Oh, do you mean? Oh yeah, because I know I talked about your Ganon fight or something else.
Yeah, my Ganon fight was really sloppy. Like the torch, like I was a little missed a few triples and stuff, and Agatu was those are bad patterns, but I was just kind of sloppy at the very end there. I was just quite nervous because you know I knew I couldn't have a big lead, right? I'd done too much, too inefficiently to like, you know, like even if he hard last located, which he like nearly did, like it was still only like 3 minutes, right? So it's
there was no scenario in there where you had a major lead. For all you know, you were about to either like slightly lose or slightly win. There really wasn't a different scenario.
I will
exactly.
I will at least say though that I've never seen someone get so close to Aghanim 2 during that fight, so that was actually pretty impressive, all things considering.
Yeah, shoutouts to Doomtap. He's a connoisseur of the damage boosts on Agatu to handle the stupid patterns where like one's against the wall, and it's a good strat if you get your timing right. Which luckily today it was okay. I'm normally not anywhere close to that good at Agatu. I say that I got a 4 cycle anyway, but yeah, I mean I was pretty happy with that. My early GT climb, I felt very, very good about.
Yes. Now your next match, I believe, is actually I don't see it here.
Yeah, I don't have any schedules. We have family visiting this weekend. I had a kind of busy week, so I put them off to next week. But I'm going to be getting. I have 1 match with Crom, and both of my matches with CS Tutor next week, and I hope I can get away with 1 win out of those. I've definitely lost to both of them multiple times on ladder and such. So it's no free wins. This is a tough group.
Yeah, very tough group. I would not want to be in this group. And good luck on the rest of those races. 2-1 is definitely a good spot to be in, all things considered. 2-1, you still have some room for error, some losses through your remaining matches.
For sure, yeah, definitely could be a lot worse. But,
yes. Well, make sure to follow Vortex of Doom and SirLinkalot here for estimates first tonight, folks. Coming up on the schedule here, if you want to see some more Linkless Fast Randomizer action, currently about an hour in right now, we have a McBoss, SailorNet versus TJ Maelstrom happening on SpeedGaming 2. And starting just like 10 minutes ago, we have another McBoss, Ninjembro versus Zafky Heel. But stay tuned if you want to see some more racing action here, because Talon 116 and Radical Sniper 99 are on deck, waiting for you guys here in just a few minutes.
All right, well, let's get off. Good luck to both of them, and yeah.
That's right. And of course, we also have Homebreaker versus Slash Fred. That'll be on ALTTPR Randomizer, so make sure to follow that as well as those channels as well as SpeedGaming 2 through 6. Or is it 7 now? I don't remember. So, regardless, there's a lot of racing action, not just the Link to the Past Randomizer here to watch. But that's going to do it for all of us here. So, for all of us here at Link to the Past Randomizer, I've been Wolfling 0370. We'll see you in a little bit. And thanks for watching this race. Good night, everyone.